Hello, everyone. Welcome to the temple. Very nice to see your faces. Nice to be here. It's a super thing. So the koan is kind of seasonal, I guess, for us. But you may be having snow and not rain. And you may be having all sorts of things. If you're down south in Chile or Tasmania, Tasmania's having fires and Chile's having warmer weather. So we said we're using a koan from Blue Cliff really as the theme for the session. And it's called the Sound of Raindrops. The teacher asked a student, "What's that sound outside?" And the student said, "The sound of raindrops." And the teacher said, "People are upside down. They delude themselves and chase around after things." "What about you, teacher?" said the student. "Sounds like rain to me. What about you, teacher?" And the teacher said, "I'm reaching not to lose myself." "What do you mean by reaching not to lose yourself?" The teacher said, "Being born is easy. The way of freedom is hard." The teacher, Jing Qing, asked a student, "What's that sound outside?" "The sound of raindrops." The teacher said, "People are upside down. They delude themselves and chase after external things." "What about you, teacher?" "I'm reaching not to lose myself." "What do you mean, reaching not to lose yourself?" The teacher said, "Being born is easy. The way of freedom is hard." In an empty hole, the verse says, "The sound of raindrops." The empty hole is really our consciousness. Is vast and spacious. And so, rain is one of those mysterious things. I've always wondered why rain has such a sound of rain has such an effect in meditation. And the answer is it just does. So when you get an explanation, call me up, even if it's 2 a.m. So it just, there are those things that sort of strike through the heart and open us up. A train whistle can do that. Or I knew someone who had an awakening experience at the sound of a gunshot. It was the sound of a gunshot that was on the radio, soap opera. So it wasn't even a real gunshot. But it awakened her and freed her from all her doubts. And or there's Ling Yun walked around a corner. He was just meditating, and just the way we sit here, he got lost in his meditation. And he walked around a corner, and suddenly he noticed it was spring, and he suddenly noticed peach blossoms. And it awakened him. And he said, for 30 years, I sought a master swordsman. How many times did the leaves fall and the branches burst into bud? But from the day I saw the peach blossom, I've had no doubts. And so the sound of the rain can be the same. From the day I heard the sound of the rain, I've had no doubts. And I remember waking up one time in North Carolina. It was raining. I didn't know it was raining because the rain was inside me, and the whole universe was raining. And I noticed that everything was raining. There was a child living in the house at the time. I was a kind of godparent too. And the child ran downstairs and jumped on me in bed. Thank you. And jumped on me in bed. But then he was part of it. Everything was inside me. Everything, he too was part of the rain and part of that which was one with everything. And so, Chang Ching, the teacher, says, he's kind of getting desperate, so he'll ask any question. And he says, "What's that sound outside?" And he says, he's not desperate, but he's sort of trying to make a door for the student. And the student says, "The sound of raindrops." So that's a good student, just comes straight forth and says, "That's the sound of raindrops." And Ching says, "People are upside down. They delude themselves." Another translation, they lose themselves, they delude themselves, and they chase after outward things. "What about you, teacher?" says the student. "Give me a hand here." And the student says, "I'm reaching not to lose myself. I almost don't lose myself." "And what do you mean by that?" And he says, "Being born is easy. The way of freedom is hard." So the way he's sounding, when you hear the raindrops and everything falls away, that's a kind of involuntary thing when you wake up in that way. Emptiness just appears and you're inside it and outside it. He's saying it's good to in some way take that into your life. To take into account that we're always in the vastness, but here we are, fiddling with the sound, can't quite get it to work, whatever it is. And or it's not just raining, it's snowing. Whatever's happening in our lives, we feel unaccountably happy. We feel unaccountably sad. And that too goes all the way through us. Everything actually goes all the way through us. And it's a marvelous thing to meditate. And the joy that comes, is hard to, you can't measure it, and you can't cause it, and you can't really describe it. It's involuntary. So awakening is a gift, really. And the sound of rain is a gift like that. The rain, rain, rain. And rain goes on. There's a great thing about rain. If you're lucky and you're in a place with rain, we've been having atmospheric rivers here. I'm trying to make the most of it before it all dries up in summer. Plants start to suffer. Yeah, it goes on, and my whole psyche is rain, and my thought is rain. I have no thought that's not rain, and it's just running through me. And Suzuki Shunryu has a great line about rain. He said he was walking in the rain with his teacher in Japan, and his teacher said, "Why are you hurrying? The rain is everywhere." It's kind of great. You're always in the rain. You're not going to get out of it when you're walking in the rain. And it's kind of nice. And in an empty, the verse, this is the great, Blue Cliff Record, and it's the great koan work. There are three great koan works, and this is one of them. And this was the first of them. The Book of Serenity is probably the second, and then the Gateless Barrier would be the third. And it's hard to respond. In Empty Hole, the Sound of Raindrops. See, that's how he's describing that way that, oh, you're full, the mind is free, there's nothing happening in the mind, and suddenly a sound falls in. And it's hard to respond. And then the poet says, it's hard to respond, even if you're really good at this. Understanding or not understanding on South Mountain, on North Mountain. More and more rain pours down. All day it pours down. So, and he has a quote from the Surangama Sutra. In the midst of hearing, Avalokiteshvara let the streams enter, but was mindless of what was there, since what he let in was quiet in that way. Motion and stillness were ultimately just quiet. If you say it's the sound of raindrops, that's not quite right. If you say it's not the sound of raindrops, it's not quite right either. So the sound of raindrops, drop, 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 the sound of raindrops. And walking in the rain is a great thing. Like one of the things that it's nice to do is where I live, you can sit under the eaves and watch the rain. You can meditate when it's raining. And the rain pours down and the frogs launch in and they start to sing together. They have a chorus. And occasionally you'll see an animal quietly go by. And if you're sitting quietly in the rain, the animals sort of just accept you. They don't mind if you're there. Fox goes by. Occasional bobcat appears, things like that. It's a nice thing to be held by the rain, the teaching of the rain. That's what we have, the teaching of the rain. Inside and outside. So I think what we do in the retreat is that kind of stillness that the rain brings, a quiet sound like that brings an inner stillness, and that's where we rest. There's nothing to be said. You just rest in that stillness and your heart opens. It's an amazing thing. It just makes me laugh when it happens. What are you laughing at? A friend told me, a friend who's like, he's really good at what he does and he travels all over the world and he does these amazing things and gets big concerts going and things. And he said, we had 60,000 people in London or something. And I said, well, that's really great. He said, what are you doing? And I said, listening to the rain. And they're both what they are. There's nothing wrong. 60,000 people is great. It's really happy. But also listening to the rain. It's just rain. What's the sound? It's just rain. There's no me. There's no rain. It's like that. So okay, I think that's what we'll carry into the retreat today. And these kind of retreats, I think, are really important because they allow the meditation and the practice of the temple, practice of the monastery to get into our lives and to bless us. And it's a very significant thing. And then you'll realize that you belong in the world, in the sound of the rain. And no matter what craziness the world is doing, or no matter what craziness is going on, you'll notice that the world there's always craziness going. You may have noticed craziness is a common thing in the world. And there's an old poem that goes, demons are strong, disturbances are many. And so one of our answers is, do retreat, and we become, in a way, free. And the demons don't, I don't know, the demons can't see us, we could say. And the rain can see us, though, and just rains through us. And so it's a great thing to do. And it's very hard to get through troubled times without a practice. So what we're doing is we're fortifying our practice, fortifying our connection to the original mind, the original face. Let's do that. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And we do it together is a great thing because it's sort of an unknown magic of the way that when you meditate, it touches me. And when I meditate, it touches you. And when we go down deep into that, and we just look at each other, or we hear each other speak, you can feel the connection. That's the sound of the rain. So very well. What is that sound outside? The sound of rain. Being born is easy. To express it, to realize it can be hard. But I don't think so. We could say it the other way around. Being bored is hard. And realizing it is easy. It's just here. We're just having our meditation. It's not so hard. It just comes to us. It doesn't ask our opinion. We don't ask its opinion. Oh, what are you doing? I'm listening to the rain. I'm meditating. That's all we're doing. Okay. Exciting thing to be doing together. Thank you very much.